Sup guys, I think I might have found the single best way to build apps as quickly as possible. And I'm not talking about web apps or something, I'm talking about actual mobile apps. And disclaimer, this is not using Lovable or Bolt or any of these tools, because while you might get a good app and working app with these, you won't get the features you need for an app that actually makes money. Like you don't get payments set up, you don't get push notifications, you don't get any native features, you don't get the assistance you need to submit the app. So while they might be cool to play around, it's not actually really the thing you need to build monetizable and profitable apps. And why you should build apps as fast as possible is you don't want to waste time on the things that don't matter. So you want to build an app, push it to the app store as fast as possible, and validate if it's okay, if it's something people pay for, and then focus on growth hacking it and improving from there on. For that you need a solid code base and to build fast and ship fast and validate fast. You need analytics, push notifications, subscriptions, sign in, all of that. And Lovable, Bolt, they won't give it to you. So what do I have prepared for you? Basically what we're going to build over the course of this video is an POC or an MVP, and we're going to play around a bit, and I'm going to show you what I found. And basically all of that is based on Dan's newsletter article and this video that I read. If you want to go and watch this video, I highly recommend. It's really good. Basically, he shows this AI flow that he uses to build web apps. And I thought, okay, that's great. How can I use it to build mobile apps? What we will use is a thing called TaskMaster, and we will build newsletter reading app. So basically, your email box is cluttered. It's not a pleasant reading experience. It's not a great UI. And it's, you're getting distracted by all the other spam emails and stuff. That's why I thought I want to have personally Kindle-like or Apple Books-like newsletter reading app that displays me the newsletters that I want to read, only the ones that I'm interested in, and not the other emails, and also in a nice UI. And we will see how far we get with just not writing a single line of code, just using AI. So what we have to do here is, first of all, we go to ChatGPT, O3 model or maybe O4 model, doesn't really matter. We describe them like, I would like to create concise function requirements for the following application. And then I describe my app, my requirements. Be sure to, be super explicit and detailed as much as you can. Then actually we go to cursor to native.express, and what I need here is I need to give it an overview of like project structure. For that I use the tree command, make sure to exclude any node modules and stuff that we don't really want. I just copy that and we go back, put it in here, say I already have an expo plus native expo plus reg native boilerplate ready using Superbase, reg query, Superbase reg query, BlueStack UI, and Tailwind CSS. Here is the folder structure. That's basically it, but you can iterate through it. Try to be explicit, like as much detail as you can. This is only for requirements. We're then going to use that for another prompt to get the PRD, so the product requirements document, and we will work from there. Also make sure you can go to Dribble, research some UIs like reading app, and select a couple UIs that you like. For example, it's all not my favorites, but we just go with that one. That one looks good. Make a screenshot and give them just to ChatGPT as reference. That will help a lot. Okay guys, I now have the finished requirements written down. There could be more in detail, but I don't want to waste any more time on that. I will probably remove that one in canvas mode. I added some monetization, paywall using RevenueCat, and this is basically it. I will take this one. In the next step, I will add, finish this up to the full PRD and add like how the code in the boilerplate is structured and what is used for what and what's already there and what not. Yeah, we'll see you there. In the next step, we are going to create the PRD. For that, we select as model GPT-4.1. This is the prompt. This is basically, and shout out to Dan, this is from his blog, and this whole process is inspired by his blog. I will link it below, and this is basically the create PRD prompt. We're going to take, this is the video if you want to create web apps, highly recommend it. And back to the video. We Copy the prompt, copied our instructions, and let it create our PRD. Alright, so we got our PRD, this is how it looks like. What we have to do now is go through it and make sure that everything is right and as we want it to. For example, I can see here that it always has those weird requirements of like it has to be this and that fast. I don't really care about that. I don't know if you do, but we're going to edit it in Canvas and remove all of that. Like we have it here and just go through it, finalize it. Very important, but I'm going to do that in the next step, is the technical requirements, where I want to give it the way the code is structured to, you know, in the end I don't want spaghetti code, but I want clean and maintainable code so I can go through it manually if I have to fix bugs or something. So yeah, that's very important, and make sure that you get it right. Take your time with this. Okay, I spent some time and finished up the PRD. You can see I added extra focus. Let me turn that. I had extra focus on the technical requirements in Stack to describe like how the boilerplate is set up and how I want my code to be structured. Just, you know, to get better results and better codes and more maintainable. But yeah. Now we can get our hands dirty and set up the boilerplate and the code and get things going. Okay, we go on, clone native.express. We get our folder here. We create a new folder called grips. Under that folder, we create a new file called prd.txt. And we basically will paste in our PRD. That looks good. Now we're going to set up, do a basic setup for native.express, get it running. So we have like the initial base from where we can work on. So basically what I'm doing now is setting up the boilerplate. I just cloned it. Now you can see this is the project structure. We change directory into native.express. We run yarn install. In the meantime, I have already set up my environment, like my Supabase project, and then .env.local file, added my Supabase URL and anon key. The rest we are leaving that for now. We don't need it. We can do that later. We're doing yarn to install the dependencies. And basically what I do is just follow the documentation of native.express. We do npx expo pre-build platform iOS. I will only do iOS for now. This is done. Next step is going to be installing the pods. We don't need that. This is done. Change back. Let's see if we can run it. Need to set up this one. Okay, that took a while. Don't worry about the issues that you see. That's just because we haven't set up any products in RevenueCat. Also, what I forgot to mention is if you clone, you will get that config.js and you have to adjust that. I didn't do it because it will work for me, but you should change your app name. We can do that later on. But yeah, it took a while to run. Now it's there. Build is done. And we can go on and start with the actual vibe coding. The final thing before we can start to vibe code or to let AI code the whole app, we have to set up TaskMaster AI MCP. You go to taskmaster.dev, install instructions for cursor, the MCP, and once you have that ready, that's basically it. And if you have any questions, I will link the Shipixon blog article by Dan in the description below, and you could go step by step, although this is for web apps and not for mobile apps, but we basically follow the same thing. And now we can start. Once you have set up your MCP server, we go to the chat, we choose agentic mode, use Claude for Sonnet or the model of your choice that works best for you. And then we say I've initialized a new project with Claude Taskmaster. I have a PRD, add scripts prd.txt. Can you parse it and set up initial tasks? Let's see if it works. Now it asked me to if it can execute or call the MCP tool. We let it run. What it creates now, it creates a .taskmaster file with the tasks, and it will now create tasks step by step with subtasks. And this is very important. You have to go through that, double check the tasks, read through them and make sure they're correct. Because this is what we do in the next step. We just let AI choose the tasks and work through them step by step. Okay, so what it did, it ran for a while and we got these tasks. It's like 25 tasks. I went through them briefly and just checked what it says and how the testing strategy is, and did a few changes to testing because it has some, you can see it right now here. Test tab navigation between new and read. I don't know how it wants to do that. I think it's too much overhead. So I told him to basically not do this. I don't know why it's back in here, but doesn't really matter. So next step is I just asked him, can you analyze the complexity of our tasks to help me understand which ones need to be broken down further? We let that run. And you see how this is a process of preparing everything in much detail and being super specific to save the development time. Now it wants to call the tool. We let it call the tool. And it just takes a while, you know, it's just... Once we have that setup done, it's basically just asking Cursor to break down, to analyze what tasks should be done next, and doing that all the time until you're finished and are done with all tasks. And it takes a while. But you know, you can, in the meantime, you can go and practice some piano or get a coffee or go for a walk. I don't know. Okay, I think all the tasks are now in a good enough state. What we do now is we open a new chat, select agent, Claude, remove that, and tell them to show us the task. Then it runs the MCP. It gives me an overview of all the tasks. What we then do is tell them what's the next task I should work on. Please consider dependencies and priorities. Let it run the MCP tool. It tells me to run task 1. So what we do now is just tell them implement task 1 and all its subtasks. And that's basically it. Like, that's the workflow. It's show task, like we have everything set up, the tasks are ready. We tell them to show us the task, then ask them what task we should work on next, considering dependencies and priorities, and then implementing that task, or letting it implement the task, and then iteratively going through all the tasks until we're finished. And that's going to take a while. And the preparation took a while as well, but like, this is way faster than coding everything ourselves. And even if you have like smaller apps that would be faster, this is obviously a bit complex, a bit more complex, and I'm actually excited to see how the result will be with like just doing this whole process. Okay guys, it's now a couple days later. I didn't have the time to finish it the same day, but it mainly did everything on autopilot. I just, you know, sat here, ran the commands, wait till the commands are finished, and then did the same thing again. Just took a little while for it to execute and then build the project and stuff. But we now are more or less finished. But basically this is the app. You see it did onboarding flows. It adjusted a bit the sign-in flows that I already had in the boilerplate. But if you sign in, okay, I don't have any emails. I think there might be an issue. Okay, I've read all my emails already. So how it looks like is I have the new tab where all my new incoming newsletter emails will be shown. When I click on one, it will open them in the red tab or move them into red. I can open them. I see a very nice newsletter style reading app. I can switch between them by just swiping. And that's pretty much it. The rest is boilerplate stuff. I can click on here, go to the profile screen. I can manage my senders. So I see here all the newsletter senders listed. and I know that they are cluttered in the email app, so I can disable the ones that I actually don't want to read or don't care about, or which are just spam, and then only get the ones that I'm interested in. So that's pretty cool, and you can see everything around that is still the boilerplate. I could let it move on. I think if we just tell him to show us show tasks, you can see which tasks are open, which are not. But reflectively, I should have approached or been more careful with the tasks that it created and went through them, or should have gone through them more carefully and adjusted them, because the first task was kind of, it did too much of a setup style, even though I already had the boilerplate and it didn't have to do that much. And then, like, most of the tasks, like if you look at it, it's 25 tasks, and if you look at this, I didn't do all of them. I could let them go on, but most of the tasks I don't need. Like, completed tasks is everything that's regarding the app itself and the logic. But then we have tasks like what is it? Error tracking and analytics. Like, you don't really need that. Performance optimizations, I don't need that. Accessibility implementation, I don't need that. Background sync, okay, it would be cool, but it's kind of, too much. Supervised edge function implementation, I don't even really know what it means by that. Testing and quality assurance, like, who does that? Who does that? Documentation and deployment, we also don't need that. So it's, it's just too much tasks that are not really required, and I think they are a result of the PRD, because the PRD already includes like testing and quality and performance. I don't know why it does that, but I should have removed them and then went through them more generally. And then also, you can also see that I cancelled actually one task, which is the Apple Mail integration. Just simply it tried to do it, and then there was like Apple doesn't support it, and then some restrictions and stuff. So I was, let's leave it. We don't really need that. Gmail is enough. I have only Gmail. Because it then wanted to go on and implement IMAP and OAuth instead. I don't know. It's just too much for POC and too much for this video. And all in all, this app was a bit complicated. Like, I was surprised. I am actually still surprised that it got the Gmail thingy right first shot. I had a couple issues with this newsletter reader, just simply because it was just showing it all messy and stuff. Had a hard time because the emails are in HTML, and they are just not so optimized and not in the style I wanted to. And then I tried to parse them, and the AI tried to parse them into like different markdown and all that stuff, but it didn't really work on React Native. But we got it now working. It's just a web view now. Like, this was the most problematic part, but besides that, everything went really fine. The boilerplate, like, make sure you set it up properly, following the documentation, and then telling the AI and giving extra care in the task that it doesn't try to, that it understands that it's already there and it doesn't need to touch any of the boilerplate stuff and setup stuff, and only straight up start with the features, and then should work properly. Well, it's really cool. If anyone wants to code, of course it's not finished, but I think this might be a really cool product. I would use it myself. That's why I try to make a POC out of it. Anyone who buys a boilerplate can have access to this and the prompts and stuff. But yeah, I think this is a pretty cool way. I would aim for somewhere until a maximum 10 tasks. I would aim for, and maybe smaller apps than that. But still, I would say that's astonishing. Bruh, I don't even know how to pronounce that word. But I think that's really good for me not writing a single line of code. I'm not kidding, not a single line of code. Just the process, and when there was a bug, like, make sure to run after every task, after a task you implemented, run the app, test if there's an issue. If there's an issue, copy paste it, let it do its thing. I haven't written a single task, and I think the code is okay. The code is not too bad. If you look through it, what did I do? I did some migrations. Then I have the revenue cat provider, which it touched. I don't even know why. But logic-wise, like it created the folders for each thing, like subscriptions and cinders, which is super clean. Logic-wise, we have hooks for the newsletters, for the markdown renderer. Like everything is separated, and I think it can work from that, right? Use reading preferences. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. So yeah, there you have it. I am excited to build more stuff like that. Just using AI and the boilerplate. Where creativity is the limit, and maybe, again, make sure to have a proper setup to make it even easier, using the boilerplate and giving extra special attention to the tasks that it generates. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if I should build anything else next. But yeah.